They had the talent. They had the numbers. But for one reason or another, their best years meant nothing. This is the story of NBA stars who wasted their prime by choice, by circumstance, or by being stuck on teams that didn't deserve them. Tracy McGrady, a 6'8" wing who moved like a guard, shot like Curry, and scored like Jordan. That was Tracy McGrady in his prime, and prime T-Mac, he was absolutely unstoppable. 32 points, 5 assists, 7 rebounds, 46% shooting from the field, and 39% from three. Those weren't video game numbers, it was just another night for McGrady. But here's the kicker. While everyone talks about Kobe's playoff heroics, McGrady actually outperformed the Black Mamba in the postseason. T-Mac averaged 32, 5, and 7 in the playoffs compared to Kobe's 28, 5, and 6. Both lost in a heartbreaking 7-game series. So why doesn't anyone remember McGrady as a playoff legend? Because he never made it past the first round during his prime years. Not once. But here's what they don't tell you. It wasn't McGrady's fault. The Orlando Magic surrounded him with aging veterans and draft busts. The Houston Rockets looked promising until injuries destroyed everything. Do you want to know how good McGrady was? He had the potential to be a top 15 player of all time, maybe better. Instead, he's remembered as the guy who couldn't win in the playoffs. The talent was there, the numbers were there, but the teams, they failed him completely. DeMarcus Cousins. DeMarcus Cousins was a 6'11" center who could dominate in the post, stretch the floor with threes, and dish assists like a point guard. He was everything you want in a modern big man. Think about this. The Cousins averaged over 20 points and 10 rebounds regularly, but the Kings never even sniffed the playoffs. Not once. While he was putting up dominant numbers, the front office was cycling through coaches like they were going out of style. Dysfunction became the franchise's middle name. Then finally, a break. 2018. He gets traded to New Orleans and paired with Anthony Davis. The duo looked absolutely terrifying. Cousins was having the best season of his career, proving he could be the perfect complement to a superstar. And then, Achilles injury. Season over. Instead of the maximum contract he deserved, Cousins had to settle for a bargain deal with Golden State, $5.3 million for 1 year. He was supposed to come back and prove his worth in the playoffs. Game 2 of the first round? Torn quad muscle. By the time the finals rolled around, Cousins was a shell of himself. 8 minutes of action. That's all we got from one of the most talented big men of his generation when it mattered most. Bad teams and bad luck don't just waste careers, they destroy legacies. Steve Francis. If basketball was played on pure athleticism and swagger, Steve Francis would be in the Hall of Fame. The man was a human highlight reel. Explosive first step, nasty dunks, the kind of athlete that made you stop what you were doing to watch him play. But Francis's NBA journey was chaos from day one. Vancouver drafts him second overall. He refuses to play there. He gets traded to Houston, where he actually starts to make noise. But then the problems begin. Attitude issues, coaching conflicts, trade demands. His jump shot was inconsistent, and his leadership was questionable at best. While other stars were building dynasties, Francis was burning bridges. The injuries didn't help either. Meniere's disease affected his balance and hearing, causing constant headaches. By age 30, he was out of the league completely. Here's the tragedy. Francis never even made the playoffs. Not once. All that talent, all that athleticism, and he never got to show what he could do on basketball's biggest stage. Some players waste their prime because of circumstances beyond their control. Francis wasted him because he couldn't get out of his own way. Kevin Love. Before Kevin Love became the third star in Cleveland, he was an absolute monster in Minnesota. He scored 26 points and had 12 rebounds per game. Elite shooting from three. Incredible passing for a big man. Love was doing everything you could ask from a franchise player. He was putting up numbers that should have translated to playoff runs and all-NBA selections. But the Timberwolves, they were going absolutely nowhere. Despite Love's dominance, Minnesota missed the playoffs every single year he was there. The front office couldn't build around him. The coaching carousel never stopped spinning. Love was trapped on a treadmill to nowhere. Some people blamed Love, saying he wasn't a true alpha and couldn't carry a team. Others saw a star being completely wasted on a franchise that had no idea what they were doing. The numbers don't lie. Love was averaging 26 and 12 with elite three-point shooting. Those are MVP caliber numbers on any competent team. The Timberwolves went through 4 different coaches during his 6 seasons there. 4 coaches, 0 playoff appearances, and one incredibly frustrated superstar who should have been leading deep postseason runs instead of watching from home every April. When he finally joined LeBron and Kyrie in Cleveland, Love sacrificed his individual numbers for a ring. And it worked. He got his championship. But many still wonder, what if he had stayed as the #1 option? What if Minnesota had actually built a competent team around him? Could Love have been a legitimate MVP candidate instead of just a really good third option? Mitch Richmond. This one hurts because Mitch Richmond was flat out incredible, and nobody remembers. Over 20 points per game for 10 straight seasons, 6 All-Star appearances, 5 All-NBA selections, a gold medal, Hall of Fame career. So why does everyone forget about him? He spent his prime years on the Sacramento Kings teams, which were absolutely terrible. While the rest of the league was building contenders and creating must-see TV, Richmond was putting up elite numbers in complete obscurity. The Kings were so bad that Richmond's incredible play didn't matter. No playoff runs, no national TV games, no memorable moments, just a superstar hooping in the dark while the basketball world moved on without him. During Richmond's 7 seasons in Sacramento, the Kings never finished better than 500. Never. This is a Hall of Fame player in his absolute prime, putting up 20-plus points per game consistently, and his team couldn't even reach mediocrity. While Jordan was winning titles and Magic was creating Showtime, Richmond was stuck in basketball purgatory. Richmond deserved so much better than those Sacramento years. He was good enough to be the best player on a championship contender. Instead, he was the best player on teams that couldn't even make the playoffs. Gilbert Arena. When Agent Zero stepped on the court, magic happened. 3-time All-Star, unlimited range, ice-cold clutch gene. The man averaged 22.6 points and 7.2 assists in what would be his final elite season. Gilbert Arena had everything you need to be a superstar in this league. The talent was undeniable. Then came December 2009. A heated argument with teammate Javaris Crittenton over gambling debts. Instead of handling it like professionals, both players drew guns in the team locker room. The NBA suspended Arena for the rest of the season. Just like that, his prime was over. Washington traded him to Orlando, where he was relegated to a bench role. 8 points per game. The magic was gone. The swagger was gone. Agent Zero became Agent Nobody. Could Arena have been a Hall of Famer? The talent suggested yes, but one moment of stupidity destroyed everything he'd built. Some players waste their prime because of injuries, some because of bad teams. Arena wasted him because he made one catastrophically bad decision. Derrick Rose, the youngest MVP in NBA history, the face of Chicago basketball, the fastest player the league had ever seen. In 2011, Derrick Rose led the Bulls to 62 wins and the Eastern Conference Finals. He was a human blur with a killer instinct, and at just 22 years old, he looked like the future of the point guard position. Then came April 28, 2012, first round of the playoffs. Rose drives to the basket, plants his foot, and crumbles to the floor. Torn ACL. Just like that, the MVP version of D-Rose was gone forever. He missed the entire next season, came back and tore his meniscus. Then he tore it again, and again. Every comeback attempt was met with another devastating injury. Rose deserves credit for reinventing himself as a veteran role player. He even dropped 50 points in a game with Minnesota, proving flashes of his old self still existed. But the explosive MVP caliber Rose never got a real second chance. The saddest part? Rose was entering his prime when the injuries started. We never got to see what he could have become at his peak. The Bulls went from championship contenders to rebuilding mode overnight, and Rose went from MVP to medical report in the span of one devastating injury. Even in his comeback attempts, Rose showed flashes of brilliance. That 50-point game in Minnesota wasn't just a great performance, it was a reminder of what the league lost when his knees gave out. Each of these stars had the talent to be remembered as an all-time great. But prime years don't wait for better circumstances. These weren't just wasted careers, they were wasted legacies.